Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Yeah, so it turns out my guest, the hijacker, I think he may have got his time zones a little bit mixed up. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's not responding to any of my messages. And we were scheduled to go live at 8 p.m., which is, I believe, 12 p.m. PST time. And what's that, about 4? Is that 4 or 3 p.m. EST? Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think he may have got it a little bit mixed up. Uh, or some, well, hopefully nothing bad has happened, but we'll find out because he was quite excited about doing this talk. So it does seem odd that Skype, which I'm talking to him through, he hasn't been online in 12 hours, and he did message me 12 hours ago to confirm for 8 p.m. So it's odd that he has missed out on this. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I thought I'd just connect with you guys, have a bit of a chat, see how it's going, see what's going on, and yeah, maybe we can do a bit of a quick Q&A. Why not, eh? Why not? Um, Paul, I don't know if you've changed your mic, but it's a wee bit echoing, but not horrible. Yeah, it's because I'm in a room, Wendy, which is a brand new. Here we go. So I'm in a it's in the middle of being, as you can see, it's got stuff just laid around. It's an empty room, so it does have a bit of an echo. I've got a nice new desk which I'm working on here, which is going to be fun and interesting. And I'm going to hopefully decorate this place with some shelves up here or something. Maybe get a nice background. But this is going to be the office from now on in the new house. I have been moving house, and I'm still in the throes of getting everything sorted, as you can see. So the echo is actually because the room just echoes, and there's nothing I can do about the reverb, unfortunately, until the room gets filled with stuff, and that should dampen everything down and get rid of this wetness to the voice. I think that's another way of describing it. Yeah. So sorry, Wendy, about that. There's not much I can do about it. I am going to try and make the live once we go. I'm going to have a bit of a chat with him first and get the levels right. I'm going to talk with him, take the audio, put it in a movie editor so I can physically see who's louder than who, and then I'm gonna adjust the volume so we're about level. Because I do know the last talk I had with JT, followed as JC, I was way louder than he was, and I forgot to put voice isolation on, and it was just a nightmare to edit to get it so it sounded just barely listenable. I think it was just about passes, but it was terrible. And I don't want that to happen again because obviously I had everything set up for my old house, so everything the soundscape is just completely different now, and I wasn't prepared for that. But you learn. It's a process. Being a content creator on YouTube is a process, and I've learned a thing or two about sound, and yeah, and so people always say to me, "Why don't you normalize your audio and all these type of things?" Like I can't actually do that live, and that's post editing stuff, normalization. And with the software I use in OBS, it's just an instant. It's all mono. There's no stereo. I don't have my voice and their voice track. It's all one track. So to normalize that is quite difficult anyway, even in post. But I have just paid for Skype. It cost me £133 after tax in the end, or something like that. And there was a bit of a fundraiser for that a few months ago. I think MK Ryan chucked in $50 towards it. So thank you, MK Ryan. But I finally used that money to buy Zoom. Sorry, Zoom, not Skype. So Zoom, I have a Zoom account now, and that should actually record both tracks, my audio and their audio separately. So if I do any meetings that aren't live, I can edit the audio a lot better from then on. But Zoom itself, I think, has a built-in normalization process as well, which is quite good. It's quite high quality video. It doesn't seem to drop out every time I talk with somebody on there, so that seems to be what I'm going for. I've tried a lot of other streaming softwares and communication softwares, and they always fall short significantly, cutting out buffering issues. Uh, yeah, this none of the Zoom has cornered that market is the best way to say it. It's like they have mastered it. And I know people have issues with Zoom on a moral basis, but in terms of practicality and what I do, which is regular podcast visits and interviews, it is the best software for the job, you know. But for a joke, it asks you, your display name is understanding conspiracy. It's in the bottom corner here, understanding conspiracy on Zoom. Just next to it, I put my pronouns, which is I think it's theorist or something like that. Yeah, truth of theorist on my pronouns. So there you go. I've got that in there as well for a bit of fun. Yeah, so sound all new. That's what's going on for me. As you can see, I'm in a brand new room. This will be an office that me and my wife will share. She'll do her work in here. I'll do mine as well. It's a big desk. It's a 2 meter long desk, so we can each have half of it each with two separate chairs if you want to work side by side as well, which is quite good. I'm hoping where this old bathroom cabinet is currently, I get a nice armchair there, like a really comfortable armchair. Maybe we can get the Truth of Therapy sessions. I can sit on the armchair and look at some of the interesting setup. I don't know. So yeah, the channel's growing, a bit of fun. I'm in a slightly bigger house than I was previously. Nothing spectacular. It's just an extra box bedroom than we had before. It's a 3 bed. It's not technically a 3 bed. This room is so small, but it's big enough to be an office. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, good fun, good fun. So what's going on in the chat, guys? Let's see what people are saying, and yeah, hopefully at some point the hijacker will get in touch with me and we can just make a switch over to a new live show where he can share his thoughts on the millennial reign. Um, we had a really good talk last time, to be honest, and I'm just going to close some files here which are getting in my way. I've got Photoshop open for some reason. Don't save that. There we go. Yeah, we had a really great talk last time, and he's got some really interesting perspectives and takes and ideas on the whole theory. And he likes all the work I do as well. He's a radio show host. I think it's revolution.radio. He's been on for many years, and he reached out to me and he basically said, Paul, the stuff you've been doing has blown my mind. It's like I've got so many ideas surrounding this and concepts, can I talk to you about them? And I said, yeah, come on, let's do it. And he came on the show and he just shared all of his thoughts and theories and ideas based on whatever I've shared. And it was a good flow. We had a great rapport back and forth. So he's been on again since then. So he's been on twice already. The second show was a hit. It's got 28,000 views. And it was just, again, just speculating about how it would have been during the little season, the millennial reign, how that would have actually worked in a socio-political context, how countries would have worked on borders and emissaries and people working on behalf of Christ, the saints, and how they would have interceded and interacted with the people. And it was interesting to see it from that worldview, because that's kind of the world he comes from, politics and that type of thing. So it was fascinating to hear those theories and ideas. And since then, he's been going further and further and further. I think he's been snowballing down into theorizing about who are we, who's the rest of the dead. We did talk about that in the last one as well. And again, he had some great thoughts and takes and ideas, and we bounced some ideas off of each other. And I believe he is retiring from radio. Now, revolution.radio is a fan-funded radio station, and I think it's one of the biggest fan-funded ones. So it's completely private. It's not like a part of affiliated by any particular network. It's funded completely by people, obviously dedicating their time to it for free and through donations. So it's one of those. It's not Radio Revolution. It's revolution.radio. It's a completely different thing. I think people get confused by who's who. Um, but yeah, there's a huge archive on there you can go access for free. It's uh, it's been going on for years, and I think they want to use my Truth of Therapy sessions to broadcast on there as well. They were saying, I think that's gonna be fine by me. If they want to take them and broadcast them on the radio, that's absolutely fine by me as well. So I was talking to one of the producers there last time I talked with the hijacker, so that could be in the works as well, which is quite fun. I haven't made a Truth of Therapy session in a while because I'm trying to make them now so I have a guest to bounce ideas off of and talk about what it is to be a truther with other content creators out there. That's what I like to do. So hopefully I can get some more guests on soon. I was invited to a podcast. I think is it alternative media or something like that. I can't remember. Some podcaster from Britain has invited me on, and I've booked that for Tuesday. So I'll be streaming that to the channel as well on Tuesday. And sorry, I'm not being rude. I have to check every single message just in case it is the hijacker. So that's all I'm doing. If I hear a beep and I'm looking down, I'm just making sure it's not him. No, it's nothing. So yeah, podcast coming up, but I do need to reach out to some guests and get them on it and get them to share their journeys to waking up as well. What's going on here? So, who's in the chat, guys? What have we got? We got Amelia, thanks for being here. Lucas, great to see you as always. Wendy, we got the moderator, thanks for being here as always. It's wonderful. Live Station Express, hello. Linda, we'll call you Linda. Hello. Um, we've got Puckwoodgie. Hey family, hello, thanks for being here. I think I've not seen you around before, but thanks for joining. Smash that like button, says Tyler Durden. Yeah, like this video, guys. Whatever this is, I don't know what this will turn into or how long it's going to go on for, but yeah, sure, like the video and tell other people to get involved and let's have a bit of a chat, guys, while we're waiting. And it's 4 p.m. Eastern. Yes, yes, that's what it is currently, isn't it? I'm 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time in Britain, so it's 9 p.m. for me. And like I said, the original show was scheduled for 8 p.m., but I think there's just been a bit of a scheduling error on his behalf. You got your desk built at least. Yeah, it's an IKEA desk. It's really good because it has a lot of storage. Each leg is actually a set of 5 drawers, which is what we need. We need as much storage as possible. And hopefully, like I said, once we get this place decked out and decorated, it's going to be a nice little, yeah, a nice little space to get some work done and get some writing done in as well. I'll be using it all day tomorrow to write. Monday and Tuesdays are my writing days. The book is well on its way. I can probably share the screen with you guys actually and show you what I'm up to with that. The book is well on its way. I'm just doing the editing process now, the post stuff, getting it all. I don't want to try Google AI. It's going to be my way there. Yeah, I'm doing the editing process right now, but the book is relatively on the way. I think I'm just about rounding off. What am I up to? Where is it? Volume one. Where am I up to? Let's share the screen with you guys so you can get a bit of a view here what I'm looking at. So yeah, I've done that. I've done this. I've done these chapters. I am currently on Origin of the Clown. I've just boxed off Joseph Grimaldi and Father of the Modern Clowns. That's now proofread and edited and all ready to go as a chapter, a solid chapter. And I've just got on to chapter 15, Secret Societies and the Circus. And there's a little introductory here about Freemasonry, Lucifer, and magic. Just basically like an overview of secret societies in general and what they are and what they believe and where they come from and what we should take from them and how they relate to this and what the writings, the things they've admitted tacitly about their beliefs and who they follow. So I've just started editing this one. So I have another file here which is called the editing process. And this is what I do. I copy paste them into each one. And then my AI Grammarly proofreader here tells me how many suggestions I have to look into for correctness, clarity, engagement, and delivery. A lot of them I don't take everything it says, because a lot of the time it's trying to rewrite sentences because it believes it's not how it would write the sentence. I'm not trying to remove my personality from the writing, but it is pretty good for punctuation. Like there should be a comma there, for example, and what does that one say? Another one there as well. So it's things like that. It's really handy just to proofread it, make sure it reads right, and it gives me the opportunity to reread what I've written. And every now and then I have rewritten the odd thing because it is just a bit. It could have been said better. So that's what I'm doing so far. On the way, chapter 15, and then I've got 5 more chapters to get through. But these end chapters are relatively well written already because I wrote them when I had Grammarly already. So it shouldn't take that long to box off the editing process here and get volume 1 completed and published, hopefully by the end of the month. That's the plan. I'm not quite ready to share with you guys yet my book cover, but I do have the book cover done. But I'll be sharing that maybe like a few days before publishing, just to get the hype going. So yeah, exciting stuff on that front as well. So we'll close those tabs. We'll get this back open, and back to the webcam. There we go. Nice room. As long as the bear makes a comeback, yeah, I'll put him in the background on a shelf or something once it's set. I'm not sure where the bear is right now. What other software do you need? Like if you had a dream web app to help with your show, what is it? The only software I could think of would be something, maybe a plugin for OBS that would automatically normalize the two of us speaking. Because OBS is quite raw as a software. and you have to do everything manually, But I don't think there is a way to get it so when I talk and the guest talks, OBS figures out what volumes to set us at so we sound equal. And I have to manually figure it out. And going off the peaks on here, it's never accurate. I'm always way off. And I can't get it right. Then everybody complains about the noise afterwards. So something like that would be nice. But there is no such thing as a good all-in-one, really. Each have their benefits and others don't. Uh, the bear is in our son's room now. He actually has the room for his teddies now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the bear's gone. I guess I don't know if our son would appreciate me taking it out of his room, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. Probably not though. Um, I see the world completely different ever since the Nephilim clown, says John Matchmaker. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those theories, isn't it? That which has been seen cannot be unseen type of thing. Um, is it as important as the millennial reign topic? I wouldn't say so. As this is the guy who created the theory and writes the book on it, saying that. But it's one of those theories, I think, which is good for bringing people outside of the Christian perspective into viewing Christian ideas. The clown is a good hook. It's a good way to. It's a good segue topic to get people thinking about biblical history and concepts and the Nephilim. And if you start thinking about the Nephilim, it inevitably leads to the Book of Enoch and satanic secret societies going into the modern age and demons and Jesus inevitably, because obviously you need Jesus to battle demons. It's a good segue point, which is why I really like the Nephilim clown research. And that's why I do what I do on it, and a good portion of the book, which you just saw there, the introductory chapter is me trying to explain this in the preface, that the reason I'm doing this is to reach more people with Christ fundamentally. Um, it's not necessarily important what demons look like. It's good to know your enemy. This is one thing, it's good to know what if you know what your enemy looks like, at least you can have some semblance of, you can at least survive the war a little bit. You know what your enemy looks like. They're no longer in disguise, and you can recognize it quicker, which means you'll be deceived less. So that's always a benefit to knowing and understanding the image of a clown and what it truly represents. And wherever clownish features manifest, you have to realize there is a spirit behind that. And it is useful, but fundamentally, I'm also trying to reach the psychedelic community who I was a part of. And in many ways, I too was. Um, Looking for answers in that realm, trying to use these entheogens to explore my consciousness, so I thought, or other dimensions, and get in contact with entities. And I know what it's like to be in that realm and to have that thought process and those ideas and concepts and beliefs. So I feel like I need to use that to win more souls for Christ, I suppose. And I can reach those people because I have an empathy for them, which other people don't have because they haven't been there before and they don't get it. And it seems like the clown topic, the Nephilim like clowns topic, really speaks to that community in a big way because they see jesters on DMT. It's a really common occurrence that they see clowns and jester-like entities and beings, machine elves as they call them, or clockwork elves, whenever they take these drugs, because they are visually seeing the astral realm in which these entities are now disembodied and trapped, and they look like clowns in the flesh, so they're going to have jester-like features in the spirit, and that's basically all it is. And it's sad because they've definitely overcomplicated what's happening in their minds. They've invented this story that, well, this is the Jungian collective archetype symbol of the jester created in order for humanity to face their shadow. It's kind of like, what? Or they're real tangible entities that are there for a historical reason, and you need to be careful about communicating with them because they have an agenda that you're just not aware of. It's probably more likely that than some airy fairy collective symbol created by humanity's consciousness combined or something. And it's kind of that's I think hearing people say that is quite shocking for a lot. Like hearing me say that is the immediate reaction is that I'm just some ignorant idiot who's not smart enough to understand Jung or something like that. It's like, no, I was there, I read a lot of the books. I understand the concepts behind archetypes, and the collective unconscious. I understand it, and I think it's wrong. I think it's bunk. I think it's a way of um, secularizing the spiritual realm. It's probably a good way to put it. So that's and a lot of people, I think, I don't think there's many voices out there legitimately giving a convincing argument to them. And I'm hoping I'm starting to do that, and in some way reaching them and making them realize that all that glitters isn't gold, and just because these entities tell you something about what they are doesn't mean it's true. And it's pretty simple, and I don't think anyone's ever told them that because they're too busy listening to Terence McKenna and Alan Watts and Joe Rogan tell them all about Zen philosophies and how if you just tap into the third eye or in some way, take a heroic dose, then you can attain a special type of consciousness that makes you a little bit better than everybody else. And it's kind of or it'll actually drag you further down because the entities you're dealing with do not have your best interests at heart. And I think that's a message people need to hear. It's naive to just instantly assume benevolence from these entities just because they look pretty, and that's pretty much what people do. And they'll deny it. They'll say, "No, I don't. No, I'm smarter than that. I'm careful when I'm in the spirit realm. I've got my spiritual weapons to protect me, which is what exactly? I don't know what they think they've got to protect them. If it's not Christ or the Holy Spirit, it's what their own sheer will or something. Because if they believe they're making it all up in their own mind or pulling ethereal concepts from the collective consciousness of humanity. Therefore, these things can't really hurt them. These things aren't really real. They're just symbols to teach me a lesson or something. And it's kind of, well, how are you supposed to defend yourself against an archetype? If you believe it's not even real, then you're just whim to its folly. You're putty in its hands. You're an idiot basically. You're a fool, and it knows it, and it's going to use you until you're no longer useful. Um, don't don't be a patsy for the jesters. Is all I'm trying to say. Anyway, I went off on one there. What's going on there? I can't figure out what it is. Incubus, succubus. I don't know. Okay, I'm lost. I'm lost now. MK Ryan, I'm here, but I'm pressure washing my fence. Nice, nice. I was looking at the fences at this new house here, and the contractors have just got mud everywhere. It's all over everything, and I need a good jet washer to get it off my own fences. So you just reminded me there. Maybe I should steal my dad's or something because I'm not buying a new jet washer just for that. No chance. Um, Okay, let me just check my messages, guys. Make sure the hijacker hasn't got in touch yet. No, still nothing. It's a shame. It's a real shame. I'm not sure why he's yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. I hope he's okay. I'm not going to assume the worst just yet because I don't actually know what's going on there. But I am going to have to keep pushing back, obviously, this show until it becomes a little bit more apparent that something's actually going to happen. Yeah, so hopefully the viewers on there will move over if they haven't already. Um, just edit this. We'll change the time so it will do it. I guess I'll just do it for 10 p.m. for now and see if the guy turns up. I don't know what's going on. I mean, there isn't a, is there a +1 or a -1 right now that I'm not aware of because of the summertime? Um, has it not changed over for you guys? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all adapted now, right? He is 8 hours behind me, so for him it should be 1 p.m. 1:17, and for me it's 9:17, and we arranged it for 12. So yeah, odd, very odd. It's a shame. But yeah, I've rearranged the timing. Let's see if he does turn up in the meantime. But you know, if he doesn't, it's fine. We'll rearrange it for another. It's not going to be an issue. I'm here anyway. We're live. So any questions, guys? Anything you want me to just muse and talk about? Did you guys enjoy the talk I did with JC recently? I think people responded to that quite well. I had a good time talking with him. It's always a good conversation when Joe's around. He's very exciting, excitable about the whole thing, and he's got that likable personality behind him, hasn't he? So it's always fun to have a chat with him. I'm talking to Vitaly from Alpha Talks next week, next Friday, or the Friday coming, should I say? What are we now? Sunday. So on Friday, I'm going to get Vitally on, and we're going to talk about parasites. He's made some great videos about parasites and their link to the spirit realm and to possibly to demons as hosts for demons, and how the gut is affected by parasites, and how the gut may actually be the source of consciousness and the soul, not the brain, as science likes to tell us. The gut may have far more to do with it and who we are than our brains, and which is quite interesting. Made a compelling video about it, and he's talking about as well like how parasites can affect people's minds in ways that are just demonic in nature, and it should be a good conversation. I'm looking forward to having him on to just share his presentation with you guys. But go check out his videos on his channel if you haven't already about that, because I think he's starting to write a book about it too, which is really cool. Um, oh yeah, the Nephilim Death Squad stream, yeah. So I actually, funnily enough, how that happened, the Nephilim Death Squad thing. David, the host of the Nephilim Death Squad, he goes by the Raven. We go way back. I was on his podcast talking about the Nephilim look like clowns, and then I became friends with him on Twitter, and I joined a group called the Nephilim Death Squad on Twitter. It was like a group chat full of loads of other content creators who were in that realm. And I didn't participate that much, but it was fun just to see what they were talking about, and I chipped in every now and then. But then they rolled with the Nephilim Death Squad, him and another content creator called Top Lobster, and they turned that group into an actual podcast called the Nephilim Death Squad. And I was a guest on there to show the Nephilim clown stuff again, not that long ago, maybe 2 months ago or something. And he reached out to me again, and maybe a few weeks ago, saying, "Paul, are you free to come on to talk about the Millennial Kingdom stuff?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure." So and we booked it in for when we a few days ago when it was. And then MK Ryan sent me a message saying, something like, "Oh, David wants to know if he's still on for 8 o'clock or something," and I had completely forgotten about the whole appointment. I hadn't put it in my calendar, and I was like, I must have had a stroke or something here, MK Ryan, because I have no idea what you're talking about. And then he reminded me. I was like, "Oh yeah, of course. I've arranged to talk to David at 8 o'clock on that date." But by that point, I'd already arranged with Joe to have him on to talk about the Millennial Kingdom again. So I double booked. So I went to the Nephilim Death Squad. I went to David and Top Lobster. I was like, "Guys, do you want to bring Joe on as well with me, and we'll do it together and explain it to you together?" And they were like, "Yeah, that sounds great." So that's how that show happened. And I double booked by accident, so I ended up arranging to have Joe on with me at the same time to do the Nephilim Death Squad show. And luckily, Joe had already been on their show too. He'd already talked to the guys about his own stuff about. I think it was about. Well, if it wasn't, was it Ancient Angels? I think he was talking about Ancient Angels with them, his documentary. So it's just one of those backstories you guys might not have known about the intricacies of trying to arrange, of my poor organizational skills is basically what I just explained to you there. But he's trying to turn a bad situation into something good, and it worked out. And I think people really liked that show that I did with Joe, and on the Nephilim Death Squad. And I think it was fun to watch the guys, to watch David and Top Lobster hear it for the first time, actually be explained to them what it actually is. And I don't think they've actually really thought about it before. And as I was basically just giving them the basics. So, Jesus said this, and we have this evidence all around the earth that it probably did happen because of the destruction events and the mud flood, and just the basics. You could see the cogs turning in their eyes. They were like, "Whoa, whoa." What?" They were like, "Go back a bit. What was that?" And they're like, you could just see lights flickering all over the place as they were making connections, and it's always fun to see that. Always fun to see that. I had fun doing it anyway. I mean, I explained to Joe on the last talk, because I've what you saw with me and Joe the other day, that one about inhuman and versus human stuff, that actually was an hour and a half that came after an hour where we'd already talked. And that's going to be on his channel soon, that first hour. So I've left that to him. And we're talking about Tucker Carlson. But in the preamble, we're kind of explaining how we were talking to Top Lobster about it. Their mind was being blown, and we could see that we really messed them up. Like they weren't expecting the Millennial Kingdom theory at all to be what it was. Like, and I explained to him how I kind of did the same thing to Bo from the Bug podcast, and I invited him onto a truth therapy session. and this is Bo. And we were just doing that thing, and then I asked him, "Have you heard of the Millennial Kingdom theory?" And he's like, "No, what's this?" I just explained it to him nonchalantly, not even considering the impact it would have on him, just telling him this. And you could see the same process. It's like I've seen it twice now, and well, three times now with Top Lobster, David, and now Bo. And it's kind of y- you see them hearing it, and it's like as Christians, they're kind of like, oh no, that makes sense. Uh-oh. It's one of those kind of things like they want no in the moment they want to be like, yeah, but oh wait a minute. You kind of see them having these moments, and it's funny. Anyway, the funny enough, after that conversation with Bo, I messaged him the next day and I was like, Bo, I'm sorry. Like I'm really sorry. I went off on one on you there, and I think I may have like I know I threw you into this world you weren't expecting. I know that was probably the last thing you wanted to hear or what was going on, and I was apologizing legitimately. I was like, I'm sorry that conversation derailed, and I didn't even intend to bring that to you. Like it's just one of those things. And he was like, no, it's fine. Don't apologize. He was thankful for it in a way. And I don't know what he's done with that information since, but I have been booking him in to come back on the channel soon to have another talk. So we need to rearrange it because I was going to be on his podcast, but then he had to cancel due to family stuff. But if I remember correctly, we rescheduled. Let me just check here on the 19th. I'm talking to Bo again on the 19th on the Bo podcast to explain the Millennial Kingdom theory again to his audience rather than just him on my random little truth or therapy sessions. I am going to go on to his podcast to talk about it. So that's coming on the 19th. So there we go. But yeah, it's just have you guys done that yet? Have you explained the Millennial Kingdom theory to anybody and watched them have those like terrified aha moments? It's the only way to describe it. I think that's the only way to describe it. Like it's both fascination and sheer terror simultaneously. Is the only way I can describe the look on the faces when you tell these people. Because it's like they can't really say much against it, it's because it's the words of Jesus, and it's kind of like, oh, Jesus really said that. Oh, he did say that, didn't he? Oh, Oh, he didn't mean a people 2,000 years from when he died. He was probably talking to the people right in front of him and meant them. It's kind of like this logic starts kicking in, and the years of futurist programming and it starts to like fade away a little bit, and it's kind of it loses the grip on them for a second, and then they're in, and it's like I think it's like a nebulous feeling, isn't it? And those are the type of feelings you have, when you have like a near death experience, that nebulousness of you're kind of no longer attached to anything. You're floating. You don't. Your foundations have been rocked, and it's kind of you don't really. You have to process the new landscape ahead of you and try and ground yourself in that moment. You're in like a weird nebulous mode, and I think this is one of those theories that does that to people. And I say that because it happened to me. Where I started talking about it in October of 2023. But I had been researching it since it first appeared in like 2018, 2017, mixed in loosely with the Tartarian stuff. And even the Tartarian stuff, I was there from the beginning, And if you want to go back to the very beginning of the Tartarian research and train of thought, that began with no forest on flat Earth, which is questioning the things we see around us, whether they're actually legitimately what we think they are. Like, are those mesas or are they giant tree stumps? I think these questions led from one question to another, and I had to once the Millennial Kingdom theory got into the mix through exploring Tartaria's work, and then a few other voices scattered here and there. I had to stop. I just stopped, and I wasn't making videos at this point. I was working, and away from YouTube, and not by choice. But obviously, I was forced to do that by my workplace because they threatened to fire me if I didn't. But if at the time I wasn't making content when I first, so I was sitting on it for a few years, a few years before I came back in 2023 at the start of 2023. For 3 years I've been thinking about this millennial reign concept, and I came back to YouTube to do the clown stuff because that's my baby, and that's what I do, and that's what I'm known for, and that's what I want to keep growing and rolling with. And as you can see, I'm about to publish a book about the thing, and I did roll with it. But then like a year into doing that in October, you know, so what's that, about 8, 9 months into it, 10 months, I was thinking like, I need to talk about this. You know, I can't, I'm not a one-trick pony. Sure, I love the Nephilim clown connection and ancient history stuff, but I'm also a scattershot conspiracy theorist as well. I talk about every topic, and this one topic is going to be huge. Like the cat's out the bag. This is not going away. And as small as it is right now, in terms of like a voice out there, this can't just be left to one side. It's too big. It needs to be hashed out. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be understood because this explains a lot, you know. But for 3 years, I had to just process it because I had been following the futurist doctrine for so long that the Christ is just around the corner. He's about to return, and tribulation is about to come upon us. The mark of the beast is about to be rolled out, and you know, the Antichrist is about to take over and rule, and there's going to be a beast system, one world, new world currency, one world order, that sort of stuff. Which there may still be if there isn't technically already, and it's you know it's just not as overt as they make it out to be, but it's everything changed, and I did have to process it. So I'd been in that nebulous state I was talking about earlier. I had to process the information. It wasn't just something that I just I accepted straight away and got on with my life, you know, and that was it. I had to internalize it. I had to, like I said, in terms of like a map of reality in front of me, like I was wrong. I had to screw it all up and throw it in the bin and redraw a brand new map. You know, how am I going to navigate conspiracy now in light of this angle? You know, it changes everything. So I've been trying to go through everything and see how it would change when compared to the Millennial Kingdom theory, and I'm realizing, you know, yeah, a lot of things are starting to make a lot more sense. Like simple things, like basic things that. Sorry, someone sent me a message. Never mind. Sorry, it's not the hijack. I was just checking. But you know, simple things like secret societies. I made a video about that recently. It's kind of okay. So in light of perhaps we're in the little season, secret societies make a bit more sense. That they're kind of a remnant of a time where they had to actually be legitimately a secret, or you know they'd be in big trouble if they were outwardly speaking about their Luciferian beliefs and their plans and future doctrines. If they lived during the millennial reign, then the necessity for their own secret language and secret societies would have been apparent. You know, and as soon as the little season began, they were given free reign by Satan. They were given over the keys to the kingdom, you know, to all the buildings, and the Freemasons took all the Freemasonry that was just laying around, which was built by those who lived during the millennial reign, you know, and that is kind of like it's funny, isn't it, to say it out loud, but then you realize, oh, actually, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's probably what actually happened. It's a lot more human of a story. It's a lot more it's a lot simpler than all this complex, convoluted backstory and history about Nimrod and Hermes and the Phoenicians and the sacred seven sciences and the craft and all. What if they're not actually that old at all? They're not ancient antediluvian serpent cults to the modern age. They're kind of like a new bastardized, outwardly spoken version of these people who had to live underground basically during the millennial reign to save themselves and to hold on to their anti-Jesus beliefs. You know, it would have been an issue. It would have been a serious issue for if you're around while Christ is ruling with an iron rod. You know, as ultimate dictator, basically, as you know, Christ's supremacy was it, you know, and to be a Luciferian during that time or a Satanist would have been like ridiculous, you know, absolutely not, no chance. You can't outwardly be talking about that while the God is quite literally the ruling on earth. You know, so it's things like this, you know, you have to then reevaluate everything from the new perspective lens. And that's just one topic. You know, like again, you look at the orphan train phenomena as well, and or the insane asylum phenomena. And Alpha Talks found a clipping from like 1830 or something like that, which was written as a newspaper for those who were living in insane asylums and it's written on the off chance within a bunch of other articles that these people from a golden age are now in. It basically explained how these people who believe they lived during a golden age are now in insane asylums, word for word, and it's kind of like it's written from the perspective of like, but those are just crazy people who need to forget the past because that's not the world we're living anymore. But it says they lived during a golden age and now they're in these insane asylums. It's kind of what does that mean? They're crazy because they talk about a time where everything was perfect and wonderful, and it's like, okay, so these little, I won't say smoking guns, but it's there's something, it's a smoking toaster at least. It's something, so something's off, it's just like, that smells fishy, that's telling us something there. It's like a residue from the past that kind of maybe the millennial reign did happen, and it's really been buried massively through complete control of the institutions, education, science, and medicine, to entertainment. All the institutions are completely, totally under the control of the secret societies because they are the culture builders. They are building a false history, a false narrative to lock us into. It's like, why all the effort? Why all the effort to hide history so much and reinvent a brand new history? And it's kind of like, well, you add the little season and the millennial reign of Christ into the equation. It's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Why such a concerted effort? Why such an effort to do all this? If it's not just simply for money, 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 power, greedy, like, yeah, twiddling the mustaches with top hats, look at all this power and wealth that I've got. It's like, that's too simple. It's like the 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 sheer size of the control is so vast and tentacle like and rigid, and it's kind of like the effort they put into it just it goes beyond greed. It's kind of like there's more, way more to it than just simply they want to own everything and control people. It's like, no, this it's to cover something up. It's something huge, something incomprehensible. And the only thing that is by any stretch of the imagination incomprehensible to us is that Christ perhaps ruled on earth for 1,000 years in what can be only be equated as a golden age of progress and peace and wonder and splendor that we just do not understand. We are living in the ruins of it, the remnant ruins of it, and they have slapped their own label over it since then, and come up with a false narrative for everything. And it explains so much. Like, this theory explains so much. Um, and the problem is Christians talking about this is that we then have to contend with, well, what's the blessed hope now then, if Christ isn't about to return and make everything right and make everything peace on earth for 1,000 years? It's kind of, well, what are we? Where are we going? You have to think about it. You really have to think about it. And the conclusions I've come to is that, well, we're either the rest of the dead resurrected, which maybe, probably not, but it could be, it's a possibility, but most likely not, or we are the descendants of those who did live during the millennial reign, reset people. We could be people who have basically the descendants of those who were on the devil's side, and everyone else who's on Jesus' side is pretty much locked up or dead by that point. So we are the the offspring of the worst people, possibly. I don't. Again, whoever we are, we're human. We're people at the end of the day, and we need a savior still, just like we did before the millennial reign. Nothing really changed. This is the thing. You start off thinking, well, oh no, everything's in jeopardy now. My faith is in jeopardy. What am I even following Jesus for anymore? If he's already come and gone, he's left us behind. Oh no, it's kind of. But then you realize, wait a minute. That I shouldn't be believing in Christ in the hopes that I get to reign as a king for 1,000 years with him. Or I should be believing in Christ because I'm a sinner who needs saving. Because when it all's done and dusted, I'll have to stand before God at some point and give an account for what I've done. And I will fall significantly short as a result of it. And if I'm not covered by the blood of Jesus, then I'm in trouble, big trouble. And it's kind of that never changed. Just whether it's post or pre millennial reign, it doesn't matter. The gospel's the same. believe in him and you'll be saved. And God sent his only begotten son because he so loved the world that, he wants you to have everlasting life. He wants that for you. He gave you a way back to him, and it's still there. And we still have that chance. Just this time, we're living in a time where the devil's really running around, making everything harder for us, like 10 times harder, 1,000 times harder for us to find faith in Christ than those who lived when Christ was around. It's easy to believe in Jesus when he's right in front of you, walking around, raising the dead and healing the sick. But we have the real test of faith. We're the ones who live during the worst, where the devil gets to have full control for a little season. And, maybe it's kind of like a Job situation. God's proving, look, devil, take control of humanity. Um, in the end, they'll still stay faithful to me. I can prove it to you. Here's the key. Go. I'll show you. And your efforts are pointless. Like it's at the end of the day, you can take everything away from them. You can make life as worse as possible for them, but they'll still, at the end of the day, come back to me, like God. That's how it goes, and that's what they need. That's what they want, and it's they can kick and scream and fire along the way, sure, and let them persist in their folly so they become wise. Whatever, give them over to the reprobate mind, see where it gets them. But inevitably, once they've been rolling around in the pigsty for long enough, they'll wake up and go, "What am I doing? I'm going back home. I'm going back to my dad." And that's pretty much how it will go for every human eventually, one way or another, whether it's in this life or the next. I don't know. I don't know the process fully, but yeah, it's this. Nothing changed pre or post Millennial Kingdom fundamentally. Um, it's good to know where we are in the time zone though, so we won't be deceived by what's coming next. But the whole point of the little scene is that the whole world pretty much will be deceived. Like 99.9% of everybody's gonna be completely fooled. Um, so there's gonna be some grace for us, right? Hopefully, because I think God knows this is gonna be a tough time for the people, a really tough time. Um, but we'll see. I think, like I said, the cat's out of the bag, and I feel like we're going to see a scramble, aren't we? We're going to see people scrambling to cover this up now, or to at least lead the narrative, or hijack the narrative in some way, or they're going to try and falsify a Jesus event or something while mixing it with New Age theosophical alien ideas or something. They're going to create this weird story up, and we're going to see some weird stuff starting to come to fruition. But if you view it all through this lens, that this is all just a really conceited, convoluted effort to cover up that Christ has already been here, and this is Satan's little season. I think you'll be surprised how much it will just continue to fit and provide answers. And again, this isn't don't take a mark of the beast because you think it might be already have happened. Don't take any marks on your skin, on your forehead or your hands or whatever. Don't put technology in your body. Don't do anything stupid like just because theory's around. Don't like fall for all the tribulation stuff if just because theories are going around that it's already happened before. You get these comments. It's like, oh, what you're doing is fooling Christians. This is the great deception. You're going to make people take the mark of the beast by saying stuff like this. It's like, if people still take the mark of the beast after just because I said some things, it's like those people are idiots. What would they like? Why would they do that? Why would you suddenly just, oh well, I guess it's okay to get that chip in my hand now. Sod it. The Millennial Kingdom's already got the mark of the beast. Was Nero's money anyway? What difference does it make? It's not like this is the mark of the beast. It's gonna make my life more convenient. Just put it in me. It's fine. I'm saved. It's the little season. It's fine. It's not the mark of the beast. It's like who thinks like that? Of course, don't do that kind of stuff to yourself. Don't utterly corrupt your own body through transhumanist means just because Paul on YouTube said the millennial reign's already come. Like, I don't really believe people are going to do that. I'm certainly not going to start taking anything that could be akin to a mark of the beast just because I really like thinking about this concept in theory. Like, come on. And in terms of coming, this is the great deception. Are you serious? Like, there's 20 YouTube channels talking about it, and I don't know, like 99.995% of all of Christendom are all waiting for Jesus to return. And then there's like, 0.0005% of Christians online shouting, oh, maybe it's already happened. Yeah, we're the deceivers. We're the great deception, are we? Like, come on. Be realistic. We are a fringe voice on a fringe community in the corners of the darkest recesses of YouTube, and we have zero impact realistically on Christianity as a worldwide institution. Like we or maybe I'm selling myself short. Maybe we are having an impact, and that's what's so scary about it. But to be the great deception, I think the great deception will be look around what's well established and already ingrained, and people are more than willing and allowed to talk about and preach. You know, if this is Satan's little season, we should be very, very, very dubious about what the mainstream Christianity is teaching, because it's likely that would be the great deception. What do you think it means to be deceived? Like it's, and if it's a great, all-encompassing deception, then yeah, it's probably not the fringe little voices in the corner that are the great thing that's deceiving billions. I doubt it. Anyway, let's go back to the chat. Let's see what's going on. Tribulation. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna scroll back and see if I've missed anything. There actually haven't been that many comments, but maybe because I'm on top chat and not live chat. Is that my mistake? And it also means you're probably listening rather than talking, which is always good. Always good. Unexpected cosmologies here. No, thanks for being here. Sorry, I've not responded to your email. By the way, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I just keep getting distracted and sidetracked, and things keep getting buried all the time with other emails, and then it's just one of those. You got lost in the ether of my nebulous email list because I get thousands and I'm not paying attention. You know how it is. You know how it is. You're a content creator. But yeah, you've invited me to come on your show again, just to talk little season a little bit more. And yeah, I'm happy to come back on whenever. We'll get something on the books. Just send me a message, an email again, and we'll get back on track. Sorry, no, it's nothing. It was nothing personal. It's just one of those things. But I've been on holiday, haven't I? And I've just been moving house and busy, and I've just got. Last month was a write-off. May was a complete write-off. But I'm hopefully back on track now. So send me a message and we'll get something arranged. We'll see what's going on. No, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. Lucas Williams, what's he saying? He's responding. It isn't a belief, it's a knowing, says Shielded Sugar. It feels like it, doesn't it? It certainly feels like it. God, these headphones are so tight. Um, you know what, guys? I don't need these headphones on to talk to you because I haven't got a guest with me, so I don't know why I'm wearing them. They don't half squash your ear cartilage. That hurts. Amazing on red as well. I need to get some softer fitting headphones, that's for sure. So let's go on here. You can't change Messiah's words. He had literally said, blessed are those that believe without seeing. That's right. This is an interpretation. I never even have thought he is the word. Yes. Where do you think they are going with this blank blank malarkey? I haven't been following mainstream news or sources, so I don't really know much about it. Like I said, I've been relatively unplugged, so I'm going to have to look into that before I give any opinion whatsoever on that. But they're always stoking up the fears of the next big thing, so I take it all with a pinch of salt. We've had a few near misses and scares, haven't we? But it generally all tends to be tactics to get people running to the doctors to get something, you know, put into them. So I would probably think it's just more of the same. The Clements are eternal. Once a mark, always a mark. Interesting. Great grandparent put in deaf mute asylum. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Everyone's complaining about ads on the live streams. Well, look, I just set the ad. I let YouTube deal with all of that. I don't place ads on my videos. Um, I mean, you're getting it for free, guys. I'm not like you don't have to pay me to say these things or to do this, and that comes at the cost of having advertisements on the videos. That's just the way it is, isn't it? And at the end of the day, I know like you might not like hearing people say this, but having advertisements on my videos means I can feed my family as well. So I'm not going to apologize for ads appearing every now and then. That's kind of how it goes. If you don't like it, you can always just skip the ad. And but in terms of frequency of when they're posted, I literally I just set it to balanced. It's always balanced, and I let it roll. So I don't have any control over that, unfortunately. Um, See, ELA is not even seeing any. To be honest, they tailor it individually to you. It's not actually not everybody gets an ad at the same time. It's whatever they think you're going to want to watch it. And they're trying to sell you specific products, is how I've seen it or found. Uh, oh, thanks for being here. I have YouTube Premium, haven't seen a YouTube ad in 5 years. Well, there you go, guys. Get YouTube Premium if you don't want any ads. That's a good point. Um, there is one weird thing I've always questioned when it comes to Masons. What is the black eye ritual they have? Have you heard of Vril? I believe the black eye ritual is a humiliation ritual, isn't it? It's like, and also it's a nod and a wink to other members that they are also a member. Um, but in terms of the frill lizards and the reptilians, which Donald Marshall talks about, I am highly dubious about the whole narrative. Um, though that isn't to say there probably aren't hybrid-like cryptid creatures out there that are subterranean. There is that too, but that's a whole topic for another time. That's definitely a topic for another time. Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, and you may know how you ought to answer every man. Colossians 4:6, absolutely. I think I've got a pretty savoury word palette myself, haven't I? I think. Okay, I think my words can be a bit salty sometimes. I think I've got that down pat. I always ads in a while. We'll talk about ads still. Uh, Jesus talked about worms and parasites. He did, yes. Watching on Brave browser, no ads. Okay, interesting. Scroll back on the chat here. Content creators unite. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there you go, Noel. Do you have a show tonight yourself? Are you doing a show tonight? I am still in the Discord. I do see you post stuff. I'm not very active in there. I'm sorry, but I do always check in every now and then to see what's going on. Mark of the beast or not, I don't like the idea of weird things inside. My body says art. Exactly. A bit of common sense, guys, is all you need. Um, did the apple in the garden have worms? Um, Christopher Clay, hi Paul, currently debating sharing this with my local church. Strong Holy Spirit presence, but don't want to scare them off. Lol. Christopher Clay. Yeah, Christopher, are you the one that's been emailing me asking me for the documents where I've got all the quotes and everything from Jesus and just around? It's not a very concise document, by the way. If you are the guy asking for that, it's just something I've chucked together very loosely. If you had the whole document, it's just a mess. Like there's no order to it or anything. But it's one of those things like I understand where to find things on there, but anybody else that looks at it, it'd just be an absolute chaotic mess with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. But I do use it every now and then on some of my shows just to pull up some quotes quickly that kind of back up this idea. And are you the one that's been asking for it? Is that you, Christopher? Because you want to share it with your pastor? It's just my own document from Google Docs. I'll if you want to email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. I can send you a copy for what it's worth. But again, it's not like a book or anything. It's not like a concise. Okay, so here's what you need to know, guys. Here's what you need to say, and this is the game plan type of writing. It's nothing like that. It's just a sporadic series of notes and quotes from random places and random books that kind of explain the idea loosely, you know. So I'll yeah, I'll send it to you if you email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. I'll shoot it across to you. I've not been ignoring you again. It's one of those things where it's kind of I see your messages, but I'm always in the middle of doing something when I look at the message where I don't have time to deal with it because I've got family stuff or errands to run. I really should get into the habit of only checking my emails in a block all at once when I have free time. But I can't help myself. I can't help but quickly just checking a message when it comes in. And as a result, I forget the message came, and then I never respond. So I'm sorry. It's on me. I'm just a terrible communicator. That's all it is. MK Ryan, have you talked to Shelley at all since she's been diving into full preterism stuff? I haven't talked to her like a conversation, because again I've been on holiday and I've been busy since we last had our talk. I think the last time I talked to her was on Prairie Dust's channel. We had a bit of a back and forth about all sorts of things. Um, so I mean, I've watched some of her videos on the full preterist thing. I've been trying to keep in touch, and she sent me the odd message here and there on my videos. So she's watching my videos, and we're liking each other's comments. So I guess that's as far as our communication goes. I guess it is communication at the end of the day, so that's good. Um, but no, I haven't reached out to her to talk about her new perspective on all of this about full preterism, and I'd be happy to have her on to explain it to me. Sure. Yeah. I'll send her a message and I'll ask if she wants to come on and have a chat about it. Because you know me, I'm open to hear anything and anything about this topic. I'm not 100%, dogmatically settled on anything necessarily. I think I'm pretty close. I've got some ideas. I'll always share them, but maybe Shelley's nailed it with the full preterist view and knows something I don't about it. Probably. I mean, I don't know everything about everything. So yeah, I'll get her on and we'll have a talk and yeah, let her share that view. I know it's pissed a lot of people off though. I know a lot of people don't like her anymore and unsubscribed. I can't believe she's gone to full freezers. I mean, you've lost a subscriber. That's it. I thought you were cool, Shelley. A lot of people are like that. And it seems like it's a bit dramatic. Slam the door on the way out. Why don't you? Type of thing. It's like wow. Get over yourself. But I wouldn't fall out with Shelley over that. She's a sister in Christ still, whether she's a full preterist or partial preterist or futurist or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. She still believes in Jesus, so she's one of us. So yeah, I'm happy to get her on and let her share her view. Sure thing. Um, the forbidden tree of hot pockets, says Lyle Satch. um, I'll believe you know. Okay. Paul, wait till you're old like me. About what? Why was that about? Make more Tartar videos, please. Love your work, says Hold Up the Sun. Tartar videos. It's not the whole Tartarian thing. It's funny because that is like a subgroup within all of this, isn't it? The Tartarian researchers, and we were talking about it with Fabrizio. Thanks for being a member. That's wonderful. Yeah, so we were talking about Tartarian stuff, and I think it was on Nephilim Desk One. I think this was David who said this. He said something along the lines of, the Tartaria stuff was interesting at first, but then, I kind of got bored of it and there was no real oomph to it anymore. And it's kind of like, yeah, well, so what? Free energy, like whatever, the hiding history for free energy. It's an interesting thought and everything, but whatever. But this Millennial Kingdom stuff has just revived everything. And now it's kind of like, okay, this is actually serious. Like, this is actually a really, really, really big deal now. And it's kind of, Tartaria itself is a fascinating starting base to get some really good because the Tartarian researchers and presenters who were really into that angle, the old world tech guys, the antiquitech guys, and they do some fantastic presentations showcasing the old world buildings. they've really put it together. They've got their shit together on that. Okay, and they have some amazing videos showcasing all the buildings, the antiquity, the technology, and the odd things that were going on during that time, and the people, and they've got put some really great stuff together. Absolutely, and I commend them for their work on all of that. But obviously they are Christian, and they would never ever consider the angle that Christ perhaps reigned for 1,000 years, and that's what you're really looking at. So they bend over backwards to make it a part of this fantasy empire of some kind, that's unknown, mysterious empire that isn't in the history books as we understand it, and we'll call it Tartaria, and the shared architecture everywhere. It's kind of like it can Tartaria did exist. The Tartars did exist, and they were often skirmishes in Middle Europe between the Tartars from the east and the Europeans from the west and type of thing as a kingdom. But it's kind of they were an isolated, relatively isolated kingdom to one section. They weren't like a worldwide empire as much as they're trying to make them out to be. Um, and they weren't as long lived as they try and make it out to be. It's just the best word they've got so far, to try and explain it. It's more likely that it's the Millennial Kingdom of Christ situation, and a lot of these shared cultural buildings, if they weren't built during the Millennial Reign of Christ, they were also built prior to that by the Fourth Beast Kingdom, which was around when the millennial reign began. Written in Daniel, the prophecy of Daniel, and this idea that there's this fourth beast diverse from any other beasts with like claws of, is it claws of brass and teeth of iron? I'm getting that backwards or upside down, but it's talking about an industrialist bullet using powerful war machine type empire that dominated the earth, and the only thing that even comes close to that is the old Roman Empire and the new one, that came after the millennial reign, where they re-established a new Roman-esque empire, didn't they? And it's kind of is it possible that that was the worldwide civilization which was then taken from them? And he even says in Daniel, it was given over to the saints. Like they were given control of everything, all the buildings, all the kingdoms, everything. And it was probably repurposed for their purposes as well as then they started getting busy building their own buildings and amongst it all. And that's probably where these amazing cathedrals started to appear in the midst of Roman architecture and these cities, and this style. And then hyper focus on it all being a part of some weird, mysterious Tartarian, uh, you know, Eastern, Northern Siberian, Russian type culture is just odd when you really think about it. When you also realize this, the culture was so diverse. Even today, it's very diverse in terms of races of people and cultures. On every continent, it's vast. So it's certain influence, but then again, like I said, you see this similar architectural influence throughout them all, and I think it's better explained um, by the Fourth Beast Empire mixed with the Millennial Reign Empire as well. I think that's probably what happened, and people don't like hearing that because it's like kind of like Jesus wouldn't use blasphemous buildings from a pagan evil civilization. It's kind of like, oh, why would he let a good thing go to waste? These are clearly useful buildings that are big and built sturdy and well and could house thousands of people. Let's do that. Let's use them for that purpose. Use them for something good instead. I don't see anything blasphemous or wrong with that necessarily, and that might be why so many of these buildings are covered in like what people say is evil pagan iconography. That would just Christ wouldn't allow that during the millennial reign. He wouldn't build such things. Maybe he didn't build such things. Maybe they were just using buildings that were already built with those symbols on them for good purposes afterwards. And you know, God isn't scared of a few stone idols. They're dead and useless and powerless in the light of Christ and his presence. They mean nothing, do they? It's kind of like they're just a reminder and a remnant of a past which they've left behind by that point. And it finally becomes art rather than gods and idols for worship. It becomes what it's meant to be. It's thought-provoking piece which reminds people of a time that used to be. It becomes art once more. So I personally don't see any issues with that. I think there are explanations and answers out there. But back onto the Tartarian research and stuff, I hope many of them eventually realize it's the Millennial Kingdom of Christ more so than this this fantasy culture they've created, the Tartars, and it's sad because there's like a coalition of those type of researchers out there who are very anti-Christ. They really don't like Christianity and mock it at any chance they could possibly get. Um, and you have to wonder then, like, okay, so you never know. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't know. I don't know. But you got to be careful, haven't you? What else is going on here? Um, Cyclopean masonry is what some people call it now, says Royal Deluxe. I have no idea what that means. That's the first time I've ever heard that phrase. Um, Martin Ledke has some good info in Antiquitech. Yeah, he does. He does. Hall is your logo, the alchemy symbol with the triangle, square, and circle, but in 3D with a sphere red to represent a clown. No, no. Well, it's a mix of a lot of things. It's a symbol that represents the conspiracy you need to understand. Um, because my channel is understanding conspiracy after all. If you look at the opening image, you've got the logo um, here. And obviously, what I want to do is break down the conspiracy into its core elemental parts and discuss them individually so you can understand it before putting it back together to a holistic image and understanding the conspiracy. That's literally as deep as it goes. I don't promote the Star of Rem fan or tell you to bow down and worship this symbol or anything like that, and I'm an artist. I'm not scared of shapes personally. Like, and I profess Christ with my mouth on a daily basis, and I make it clear I'm a Christian channel, and I make it clear not to worship these symbols in any way or venerate them or use them for power or anything. I'm here to expose them. That you want to understand the conspiracy, well, understand these symbols. Get to grips with the enemy's language, basically. So I have a video explaining where the real inspiration came from for the look of it. And not only is it the whole, like I said, the sacred geometry, alchemical stuff, and the hermeticism and all that type of thing, and the secret societies and the as above, so belows, and stars, whatever, everything to do with the conspiracy amalgamated into the one symbol. It was also inspired by an old documentary called Symbols of an Alien Sky, which tried to explain all these rock carvings and images we find in symbols as representations of electromagnetic phenomena caused by the alignment of planets in a golden age of the past. And there is actually a look. It looks just like this. It's actually Mars, Venus, and Saturn aligning together in the sky, and it looks something like my logo. And obviously, Mars, Venus, and Saturn are like the god of war, the mother goddess, and the father goddess, the sun god. It's all the pagan iconography, the pagan trinity all meshed together. So yeah, that's pretty much the symbol and logo. And when I made it, I wasn't really thinking I would end up converting and becoming a Christian at the time. I wasn't thinking like that. And I understand the implications now. It's 10 years, a decade ahead of time, that a lot of Christians look at it and get highly like knee-jerk reactions, suspect about it. And it's kind of like I'm not changing my entire branding after a decade because your sensibilities have been hurt a little bit. Like that's not gonna happen. But I assure you I'm just a Christian, all right, who has a YouTube channel. Who, again, I'm not changing my entire branding and image now. And I still think my reasoning was honest at the time, and I think it still stands today. Why I use it. I've explained it plenty of times. So that's it, really. I think that's my logo explained again for those who didn't know. What have we got here? I like Beyond the Veil's explanation of Tartaria. I haven't heard that one. Rocky Shepherd. I like Mind Unveiled. Yeah, I've been watching Mind Unveiled for quite a few years now. He does some great work too. Cyclopeans. I don't trust artwork, says Shielded Sugar. Fair enough. More simple, more better for me. My brain's small. Okay. I just went to the Smithsonian in DC. What a joke. I bet it was. Yeah, I bet it was. Those guys have done some dodgy stuff over the years. Mud flood was Leviathan or Satan's release. It's more than likely Satan's release. But it does explain in, I think, is it Daniel or Revelation? Again, I'm blanking now. But there's like an overarching metaphorical tale, and it's involving the woman with the the moon at her feet and all that, adorned in stars and all these type of things. And I think it explains how the dragon, obviously, after it whipped its tail or something like that and sent a flood after the woman or something. It says all that, but then God made the ground swallow it up. That sounds like the mud flood. It sounds like just there's a moment in history where the devil made an attack. He tried to attack humanity, but God quickly cut it short. You know, and that's probably what the mud flood event was being described in that analogy. I'll have to find the exact quote another time and share with you guys. I'm losing it right now. Um, By the way, Tartaria is a kingdom after the millennial reign. 1,000 years, then Tartaria and the lion, then the age of grace, bear. We are currently entering the leopard, as per Daniel. Interesting. That's an interesting take there. Is Royal Deluxe just going to keep saying Cyclopeans without explaining why he's saying that? Cyclopeans? I don't know. I've not even attached to anything. You can, or whatever was there, just isn't anymore. Okay. Uh, can't tell. Sorry, the chat's not loading for me. There we go. 2 p.m. show, says Kimberly Paulson. And I'm probably gonna have to cancel the show with Hijacker. He's just not got in touch with me, unfortunately. So I don't know what's happened. It seems like he's fallen off the face of the earth. It's very odd actually because he was very excited about this talk. I got the whole conversation on Skype here. He's been sending me all sorts of stuff in preparations for it, for like days leading up to this. So it's not like, he doesn't know about this. Like he literally messaged me um, at 2:30 in the morning last night. So 12 hours before this show for him, saying, are we doing Sunday 12 noon my time? Like that's what he says, Sunday 12 noon my time. It's kind of we should call it this. Oh, actually, they said, oh look, it got 28,000 views last time. Like he actively knows about this, and then I messaged him saying, are we ready to go? And I tried calling him, I got nothing, and it's been 2 hours. So I don't know what happened. Like it's sad, really. Yeah, I don't think he would have backed out on purpose. I really don't. So I'm praying everything's okay. But yeah, he was excited for this talk. So I don't. Yeah, again, I'm probably gonna have to go. I'll have to just cancel that talk for now. And we're just doing this instead. It is what it is. Things happen, and we'll reschedule for another time, hopefully. But yeah, it's odd that, like, I don't think he would have just cancelled on me because he doesn't want to do it anymore. That's just not in his nature. So he's not that type of guy. So I don't know what's going on really. If I go to live shows, let me just check it. I've got people waiting there. Um, I can't really change it from here. The edit title and description, or let's just go in, edit, and I'll set it to private for now. There we go. Okay, so it's just this show now. I should probably actually know if I don't reschedule it, it won't. The joys of YouTube Live, it did not make it complicated. It's private, but apparently it's still scheduled for today, so I'll just schedule it for next week, so it's not in the feed or getting in the way in any way. There we go. We'll go back. That's sorted, and now we're on this one instead. Yeah, shame. It's a shame. Obviously it's too late for me now anyway, to be honest, because it's 10 o'clock for me. You know, we had it scheduled for 8, so I probably wouldn't be able to do the show live tonight anyway. But while I'm here with you guys, I was talking. Well, let's just do a live Q&A. You know, this is how I like to do it. So let's just do it. We'll get live chat back on. What's that? And I'm back with you guys. There we go. Thanks for the explanation. I'm not upset with your logo, was just curious and thought the red nose would have been funny if it had been on purpose. Well, yeah, you know, there is that. God has a sense of humor at the end of the day, and maybe that was the long game on his behalf, why I ended up choosing all of that. Maybe it is a red nose for a clown at the end of the day. Who knows? Um, Shadowwork says, the land of the blind, the one-eyed man, the Cyclops is king. That's true. The Millennial Kingdom was 470 to 1470. Tartaria was 1470 to 1776. Freemasons was 1776 to 1982. 1982 to present era of atheism and Ireland. Okay, that's an interesting timeline take. Interesting. All right, fair enough. I mean, yeah, so that way, in a sense, doesn't then you don't have to remove history necessarily, do you? Because it could have been the early church fathers, and then the millennial reign was established slowly over a 400-year period, and once it was finally solidified, there was 1,000 years, you know. And then obviously, if it ended in the 1400s, then you need to apply that. A lot of people just remove that time and say, 1776, the millennial reign ended, but maybe it ended slowly. And like I said, the Tartarian Empire may have taken it over because there was an immediate power vacuum after Jesus left in the Saints. So something warring feudal battles, which we have often equated with the medieval period of kings fighting one another, may have happened because there's a huge power vacuum. Well, if the king's gone, who's going to become the king? So it's possible everyone just piled in and said, "No, I'm going to do it," and started killing each other. And it just became humans started to human again and do what they do best, and started squabbling for power. And maybe the Tartars won. It's possible they had their kingdom for about 300 years, which amalgamated and slowly turned into what we have today. It's possible, highly possible. I'm open to any revisionist history, but um, because we have so much documented history, it's hard to just remove full swaths of time. But sometimes we may have to do that, may not. I don't know. What else is going? Do an interview with Beyond the Veil. Maybe I will. I'm going to reach out to as many people as possible. You think he's on a missionary work right now, from what I can see. Uh, there's still people who believe Trump is going to bring the storm, most likely. I used to, but every month they make predictions that never ever come to pass. Must be controlled opposition. Trust the plan, Nat. Any minute now. Yeah, well, you guys seem to be locked into some kind of political drama in America that I've not paid any attention to, and we are currently in our own swaths of political drama here in the UK as well with this, snap election. I don't know what's going on. I tend not to pay any attention to it at all anymore because it just leads to arguments and annoyance and anger and rage, and I've got better things to focus on. It doesn't matter, however that pans out, the government's going to win, so I don't care. I'm not bothered. Um, Your profile picture keeps making me laugh. Kumit, that's a funny one. Do you believe the camp of the Saints might be at the North Pole? I mean, the FO have the North Atlantic Treaty. Do you think good or evil occupies the North? I don't know. I don't know. It depends what map you want to go off at the end of the day. But I've never been there myself, so I don't legitimately know what's happening there. But it's highly speculated and theorized that perhaps the camp of saints or the beloved city or Jesus Christ himself may actually be in the North Pole, whether that be in a spiritual sense just above the center of the earth in heaven with the Father, or quite literally physically with his city on earth in the North Pole floating around. Who knows? Who honestly knows? But if we were to go off the flat map, the circle, ring, disc map, and the center, the north, is right in the middle. And that's probably where Christ would be, right? That people are saying, no, no, he's in the South Pole, but the South Pole is like, it would be a huge swath of ring land, right? So how can Christ be in one point in the South Pole specifically then? Is that what he's doing when it makes sense to rule from the center of and radiate out, right? So I don't know, but I do find it interesting that Santa Claus, who lives in the North Pole, who can see if everybody's naughty or nice, and is making a list and checking it twice, with his happy elf slaves helping him create crappy plastic shit to give to children, lives in the North Pole. Well, that's an inversion of God, you know, the all-seeing, benevolent being who, you know, has the book of life and is trying, and whether you're written in it or not will determine what's going on in the end, unless you've got Jesus. And there's the resurrected saints who are helping Jesus in the North Pole rule the earth and intercede on his behalf, which could be the elves of Santa. It's like a satanic inversion, isn't it, of what Jesus would be if he's up there. um and Jesus isn't a old fat grey bearded man, but it would be a young fit, never aging, divine bodied carpenter, no doubt, with brown hair, likely, as we've seen. But who knows, whatever his skin color is, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's kind of, it seems like Santa Claus is a satanic inversion of possibly the truth, right? Who knows? I can't find Hijacker channel, said Linda. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. Hijacker is one of the hosts on one of the shows for revolution.radio. And the link is on the last podcast I did with him, revolution.radio. And you can go into the archives and find his show on there. I can't remember what the show is called, but he's been doing it for years. He's a known entity, but he doesn't actually have a YouTube channel or anything. I think he considers himself quite technologically inept. I don't think he would know even how to start a YouTube channel. But he obviously has producers who do a lot of the stuff for him when he's on the radio. So um, that was a great rant, Paul, says James Carter. Thanks, James. I appreciate that. Um, Santa equals Satan. Well, yeah, it's an anagram, yes. The reason why I say this is because in the Bible, evil deceives people of the earth to go against the camp of saints. So, I mean, they are trying so hard with the UFO deceit. Yes, that's true. And obviously, people say there's obviously Nazis trying to get to the center of the earth through the North Pole, and people say UFOs. They use UFOs involved in all that as well. I don't know. I think there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation surrounding the mysteries of the North Pole. And we should always be careful. We don't really know because, again, I think it's impossible for anyone to truly actually explore that region properly. And it's pretty hard as well because it's an icy tundra that's ever shifting apparently, unless there is actually land up there that we don't know about, that's been hidden from the maps. Talk about how great YouTube was back in the day. Those were the days, guys, weren't they? Getting all nostalgic about YouTube. Um, could Revelation 12 be about the mud flood? Yeah, I think it was Revelation 12 where it's talking about how the serpent did it spit or do its tail or something? Let me get it up. Let's read it. Let's read Revelation 12. Revelation 12. The woman and the dragon. So we'll read it together, and then I'll give a review afterwards of what I think this may be in light of the millennial reign. Okay, I'm not going to get deep, theologically deep here. Okay, I'm just going to we're going to quickly breeze over it. Okay, just for fun. This is just a bit of fun, guys. So it says here, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain, and she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. It swept its tail, a third of the stars out of the sky, and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Her child was snatched up to God, to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down with you. He is filled with fury, because he knows his time is short." When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman was given the two wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time, out of the serpent's reach. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river, to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring, those who keep God's commandments and hold fast their testimony about Jesus. So, it's this verse here, isn't it? Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. And then guessing the woman here is humanity collectively, the one that produced the man child, which was Jesus, the God here, that she gave birth to a man, birth to a son who will rule all the nations. So it's not talking specifically about Mary here, is it? It's talking about humanity collectively, the bride of Christ, and also the one that gave birth to Christ. It's all convoluted and complicated when you really get into it, but it seems like once he went away, the woman fled into the wilderness, to a place prepared for her by God, and obviously how long this actually was could be said. Was that 3.5 years? Is it or something? How long is that again? Is it 4 and 5 years or something? I don't know. But then it seems like this is telling like a story of humanity from start to finish in one metaphorical tale. Is what I've gathered this to be. This is the true salvation story of humanity. It's war with the devil, the birth of Jesus the Savior, and the aftermath of Jesus, basically, and the dragon or the devil's attempt to undo what was done. But obviously, he's defeated, and anything he tries to do against humanity is always thwarted by God. And it's this idea that, once Jesus had ascended to the throne of God, maybe this is after the 1,000 years of Christ. Maybe these days are years. Maybe this is the millennial reign that was prepared for humanity, where there will be peace, during the millennial kingdom. And then it's at the same time, there's a war raging in another dimension between the angels, between good and evil over humanity. It's saying here we've triumphed over evil, and now humanity can live without the devil tempting them. So this is another throwback to the safety of the woman for the millennial reign, perhaps. And it's saying, the dragon saw he was hurled to earth, so now that he's on the earth, this is it now. Now this is the beginning of his little season. Now he has dominion over the earth. From his time here, he's done nothing but pursue humanity, try to corrupt them and kill them and destroy them. It says here she was given 2 wings of a great eagle so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she might be taken care of for a time. Are these the 2 eagle wings which are on most of the 1800 Tartarian Empire, British Empire, the European Empire flags? Is it that she managed to establish such a great empire? Maybe this is Tartaria. This is the human. This is this. But like I was saying earlier, in the comments, maybe this is the Tartarian Empire was established, which had a great defense against the devil. Out of the serpent's reach, he just couldn't do anything about it. So he decided, fine, I'll bury everything. So he sent them the mud flood, which buried the Tartarian architecture, or something like that. Maybe that's what was going on there. I don't know. Just again, just looking at it in light of that, maybe that's what that was about, and perhaps Revelation 12 verse 15 is quite literally talking about the mud flood that came after the millennial reign, after a short season, a short time, times and a half, where they had this empire just after the millennial reign. I don't know. I don't know. Just high speculation there of what we have, but it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting to look into. Very nice. Hope you enjoyed that little random rendition of view of overall view of it all. But there's a lot to be said for it, I think. Paul, what's your perspective on a cycling cataclysm as archaics and daydreamers Zed present? I think it's possible. I think even the Bible attests that there were repeat cataclysms. You know, you could argue there was a heaven and earth which was destroyed and made void, and then God hovered over the void and created our reality. So you could even go way back in time to the beginning of creation and say there might have been a creation after that, And then there was the flood, which is a reset story of a sorts, and I don't know, throughout history, there's probably been plenty of resets all over the place and disasters that have taken place. And then there would be the mud flood reset as well. Jesus Christ and the tribulation would have been a reset of a sorts as well. There's been cyclical worldwide disasters, certainly, which have shook everything up and changed everything. I do like Jay Dreamer's plasma apocalypse theorem. I followed that years ago, and I've kind of always I've not watched his recent stuff because I felt like I got the gist after watching like hundreds of his videos over many years. And it's fascinating, and I'm certainly not out of the realms of possibility. No, not at all. There's a lot of symbolic references to something like that. And in terms of Archaic's work, I've not actually really looked into it, but I understand he has the Phoenix thing, doesn't he? The Phoenix Apocalypse, I don't know what to call it. But again, I wouldn't know enough right now to make a comment on that theory. I wouldn't want to do it a disservice or an injustice because I don't know enough. Uh, Wendy's just gifted 5 memberships. Thanks, Wendy. That's great. Maybe I need to start doing more with YouTube memberships. I don't really produce anything for it, so I don't have much to offer in terms of you. Everything's on Patreon. But it's always nice, obviously, if you want to just kick back a couple of dollars and you're happy just as things are, then I suppose a quick and easy way is YouTube memberships for sure. But YouTube do take a third of that, which is quite a huge proportion of the donation you're making. So there is that as well. Patreon only take 5%. So if you really want to support me and make sure all the money you donate goes directly to me, a monthly subscription to Patreon would be the optimum best way to ensure all of that, to be honest. But you could also PayPal or donate to the book, the GoFundMe if you want to as well. There's plenty of means. But there is what I'd say about Patreon is there's a lot of extra stuff on there which you don't see on YouTube. It's like chats after I do a live show with a guest. We have a little bit of a chat afterwards. And some of that stuff can't really go on YouTube because we're talking about things we couldn't talk about while we were doing the live on YouTube. So there's all that kind of stuff on there. But I'm not like withholding information or secret stuff you can all that never before said on YouTube stuff. It's kind of like it's just friendly conversations between like-minded people on there, which is fun. It's fun because you get to see a side of content creators you might not see on the channels otherwise. So that's kind of what my Patreon's all about. And I post a few extra things on there as about the book as well and things like that. Now I have paid for a year subscription of Zoom. I can host very large meetings with no time limits. So I'm considering for Patreon only to host maybe a monthly Zoom meeting where everyone can hop on and the link will be available to patrons to use and get involved with. I'm considering doing something like that now. So obviously, as to give something extra to the patrons. If you are a patron and you think that sounds like a good idea, let me know. If you've, I'm just speculating and spitballing some extra ideas here. But if I schedule like a monthly meeting or something, or maybe a bi-month to every 2 weeks, I do a 2 hour show where it's just an open session on Zoom, and anybody on Patreon who's paid for Patreon can get the link. It'll be visible to the tiered members, and they can just click it and jump straight in and have a chat with me. Maybe that's something we can do. I think that could be fun, and maybe then I'll do like one every month for the like a free one for the Telegram or something like. I don't know. I've got ideas. I'm still trying to figure it all out, guys. So you let me know if that sounds interesting or not. Um, What are your thoughts on huge plain mountains being petrified tree stumps? I think this place was far stranger than we think. Yeah, the forest on flat Earth video, the no forest on Earth video was fascinating, and yeah, there's a lot of evidence to back it up. I would say, interesting. Right, guys. So I'm coming up to the 2 hour mark. This has turned into a live Q&A for 2 hours. I have to change the thumbnail now so it matches what we've actually talked about. It's too bad the hijacker couldn't join us. It's a shame. I'll get in touch with him, see if he's all right. I'll find a way to get in touch with him and we'll reschedule. I don't think he would have backed out because he doesn't want to do it anymore. I'm kind of worried actually because he was really excited about this and so was I. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep. He's not messaged me or anything yet. I've got nothing from him. No update. He's not been on to Skype since, so we'll see what happens. Sorry if people were expecting something else tonight. This it's just one of those things that happens. Um, um, Renee has messaged me an email saying no one can see her in the comments. Her comments have disappeared. Sorry, Renee, that that's happening to you. It's all we're all kind of win to the algorithm, unfortunately, when it comes to YouTube. They decide what comments do and do not come through. Um, you best just. The problem is if you start spamming, you won't get through because the algorithm will think you're just spam. So then they'll take away all your comments anyway. So there's no real way to beat it. You can just make your comment and hope it gets through, but we all have to kind of deal with that. I made a video recently proving that social media purposefully tailor comment sections to individuals. So there are some comments people will never see because they don't want you to see them because they want you to only see comments that spin your perception of the video in one direction. So YouTube's probably doing the same. So I'm sorry if your comment didn't come through. Um, but if you want to contact me directly, you've got my email. You just emailed me then, and I saw it. So there are other ways to get in touch with me directly if you want to do that. So don't. But I'm sorry if that's happening on my channel. I'm sat right here. I've done nothing to censor comments. Okay, so I can't actually do. I have no control over any of it. Um, I have very loose control. Sometimes comments don't appear until like a week later. By that point, I'll miss it because I'm on to like the 10th video since then. So it's one of those as well. Or maybe read questions off your Telegram group. It says Doctor Human. Yeah, well, yeah, there is a questions for Paul section on there. I don't get many questions on there, unfortunately, and the questions I do get, it's not really something I can answer easily, or it might not be something I actually know anything about as well. So there is that too. I'll do the best I can. But if you're not a member of the Telegram group already, go check it out. I mean, if I share the screen with you guys here and open Telegram, click on this here. There's my announcements page. There's a general tab just for people to share anything they want. There's a history and mythology tab. There's a testimonies and dreams tab. There's a memes tab, and naturally, it's full of it. We've got so many great memes on there. Um, we've got 11,000, almost 12,000 memes posted so far. Okay, as you can see over here. We got an art, music, and text section. We've got a Bible study section. We've got the clown section. We've got a dating and relationship section. We've got a cosmology section, a health and medicine, parenting and homeschooling, prayer requests, and we also have questions for Paul. Again, there haven't been that many since I've started it, to be honest. So if you do have questions, you can always join the Telegram. 1,246 members, which is pretty great. And yeah, check it out, guys. The link's in the description of this video. Absolutely. So there is the Telegram. There's always the Telegram. Uh, there's another option to directly reach out to me. Let's put it that way if that's what you want to do. Uh, I heard a theory about Jesus being the demon king, the king demon, when people were talking about Lucifer meaning light bearer and Jesus being the way, the truth, and the light. Would be hilarious, though I don't buy it. Yeah, people have been trying to conflate the morning star of Lucifer with the morning star of Jesus since forever. Everyone's always been trying to say Jesus is Lucifer or Lucifer is just a. I don't know. Even they don't know what they believe. Honestly, the story's constantly shifting and changing. But no, two separate things. You can be a morning star, but that doesn't mean you are the morning star. You know, there's two different. It's a title, isn't it? Um, just like all Nephilim are Gibberim, but not all Gibberim were Nephilim. Do you get it's that type of thing? They were mighty men of David, which could be considered Gibberim because they are mighty warriors, you know. But they were for the Lord. They were Gibberim for the Lord. But all Nephilim were also mighty warriors and were also given the title of Gibberim for that reason. But it doesn't mean they were good, you know. And you could be a morning star. You can be a morning star of the Lord, you know. You can be a shining light, an angel of heaven of some kind, you know, a light of heaven. But it doesn't mean you are the light of the world, the morning star that illuminates the night and the day. You know, it doesn't mean you're Jesus. It's that kind of thing. It's language, you know. But people have always tried to conflate the two. Plenty of Gnostics out there. I've been playing that game for years. Uh, what's the shell game? I have no idea what you're talking about. Right, guys. So yeah, like I said, I'm putting this at 2 hour mark now. I've got 10 minutes left if you want to stretch it that far. Get any last comments or questions in now if you want to. Like I said, I'll reel off what I've got lined up so far coming for the month if you were curious. If you want to stay clued in with what's going on there, I have on my calendar. I am talking to the Alternative podcast on Tuesday. I have Alpha Talks on Friday the 14th to talk about parasites. I do need to book in some extra people for the weekend, but we'll see what goes on there. I'll reach out to some people. I have the Bump podcast on the 19th, and in July, I've actually got Vicky Joy Anderson booked in way in the future on the 20th of July, so that should be quite fun as well. But yeah, I do need to reach out to a few extra people, get some new guests on. revisit some old guests as well, and yeah, just catch up with people, see what's going on there. Any suggestions, guys? Let me know in the chat. You tell me anybody you want me to talk to, and I'll try my best to make that happen. It's possible. Anything's possible when you just have an email address. So I'll give it a go. Um, and I need to reach out to Jason Jack, don't I? And get him on as well. Um, well, maybe I'll try and get in touch with all the Tartarian. Maybe I should start doing that, delving into all the Tartarian people and getting them to come on and explain to me what they think's going on, and I'll share them the Millennial Reign perspective and see what they have to say live on air. Might be an interesting one, eh? That's definitely going to piss a lot of people off, no doubt, and ruffle a few feathers, and that'll certainly bring a lot of attention to me that I might not otherwise want. But that could be fun. I might need help with that one though. I might need to get a team together, a crack team, and we'll have a round table. We'll have a. I'll get all the Millennial Reigners on one side, and we'll get all the Tartarian people on the other, and we'll see if we can't mediate something out together. That might be interesting, right? Would you guys like that? If we can, I don't want it to become like a debate. Millennial Reigners versus the Tartarian people. It's like head to head, like a huge. I don't want to create a versus situation. I want a conversation. Let's see what we can do. Get mind unveiled on, says Daryl Gordon. Possibly. I mean, I don't know what we discuss exactly, but we could do. Yeah, I could reach out to him, see if he wants to have a chat. Could be fun. Talk about whatever on there. I know we made a video about my Nephilim clown work, which was really well put together. So that's yeah. We have some common ground there. Something else to talk about for sure. Uh, I'm going to share the book I am writing. How can I contact you to help me publish? Well, I'm not a publisher, so I'm not sure how I can help you publish, but I can give you some writing advice because I've been learning a lot myself. I'm about to publish my first book, self-publish, so I can give you some advice on that maybe. But I can't help you publish it myself. I can tell you what I did, and some of the pitfalls I've found and the processes I've discovered along the way and costs and things like that if you want. But you can email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. It is in the description if you want to just copy and paste. Hey, you got a chair. Yeah, this this chair I stole from my parents. They're on holiday currently. They're abroad, sunning it up in somewhere near Spain, I think. And this is actually a fold-out garden chair that was in their garage. And I went round there to steal some power tools because I'm in the midst of renovating a new house. And I saw the garden chairs there. I was like, I'm going to take one of them while they're away. So I've borrowed a garden chair. That's what I'm currently sat on in this empty studio in the works. But funnily enough, there actually is a really good computer chair, which is in my parents' home, which I used to use years ago and left there in the shed. So I'm gonna go reclaim my very old, something like this is a decade old, if not 15-year-old chair. Hopefully it's not rusted up and it still moves and does its thing and it's not too squeaky, but I'll probably bring that for a bit more comfort, because there's no padding on this whatsoever. And that's what I'm doing with the chair right now. If it becomes a debate, it'll turn nasty, says Art. It will, and I don't want that. I'm not looking to cause friction. I'm looking to bring people together. That's what I want you to get together. I say that all the time. That's my opening little voice thing. And I don't think people like. I'm not singing that. And people really either love or hate the "I want you to get together" opening I have, and it's literally just a clip, the last 5 seconds of an acid jazz song called Rose Rouge by Saint Germain from an album made in 2001. Okay, and I just really like the song. I like acid jazz. I like that album. Okay, and a lot of people listen to it and think, "Well, what the hell is this? This is awful." And I know I like it, and I like that song, and I like that, and I took that clip and I made it my intro. And some people really, really leave horrible comments like that intro gay man. Why the hell do you have that? It's kind of, why does that annoy you so much? Why does that little sound elicit that kind of reaction from you. That's not human, right? You're acting like a weirdo. Chill out. It's just an opening soundbite from an old song. It's not a big deal. Yeah. And again, I think people read too deep into it. I want you to get together. That sounds like New World Order agenda stuff. Like, you want us to all become one conglomerated, like, grey blended mesh or something like that. What's wrong with you? Are you some kind of shill? It's like you got all that from a 5 second sound clip from an acid jazz song. Like, what? Chill out, relax, man. Maybe go listen to the album. It might chill you out a little bit. It's pretty cool, It's not a bad album. But yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I'm losing the plot. It's too late. I've got a few minutes left. So cheers, Daryl. Um, we are fighting AI algorithms and quantum machines, says Ryan. It feels like it. Um, you good dude. That's why they didn't invert Jesus and Lucifer. Yeah. What's with the anthropology of the red hair, blue eye, blue bloods? I I don't understand 100% the specifics of what you're asking me there. I'm sorry, and I imagine that's going to take longer than 3 minutes to describe and explain to you. Uh, look into Vril, Black Eye rituals. Yeah, look, I'm kind of way years, perhaps a decade past the Vril lizard stuff now. I don't think it's something I'm really going to dive into anytime soon. Uh, could the little season be 260 years, i.e., on 260, 1,000 God days, Revelation 12 event, at the time of the tribulation, and happened before the millennium? I mean, I feel like the Millennial Kingdom, though it would have lasted 1,000 years, I think it may have taken a couple hundred years to fully establish, and for it to take over the whole earth and be, now we have everything. Now is the time, 1,000 year reign of nothing but Christ. I think it would have taken time. I don't think it was just like snap of a finger, it's done. Um, I think 1,260 days might account for those for that 100-year period at the start and the beginning, to make the millennial reign first begin, and then 1,000 years, and then millennial reign ends over a couple of 100-year period. It fizzles out. Then boom, little season of Satan begins. It might not be as cut and dry as just this year is exactly when the millennial reign began, and this year is exactly when it ended. I don't think, and things don't tend to begin or end with a bang. They often fizzle out with a whimper. It's not. It's slowly over time. There's a slow degradation. So it's possible that that's how it went. I don't know, but there may have been 1,000 years of glory, where everything was perfect, something like that. He's not ginger. Lol, his wife Kitty will tell you. Yeah, I know. I've got some ginger in me. My beard is quite clearly like an orange color, and if you look closely, where is it? I've got a grey. This is grey hair up here, so it's going grey now. I've got just one grey hair here, another one mixed in. I think I've got a I'm getting greys, guys. I'm getting old. I'm 32 this year, soon. In a month, actually, in July. July the 4th, I'm 32. I forget my birthday. No, that's the point. I forget how old I am. I'm aging now, and my hairline, it's always kind of been receding like this. It's always kind of had this really far back thing going on, but it's definitely getting further back. I'll say that. But if you look at my hair, it's actually like gold. Can you see? It's got like a golden tone to it. It's not orange exactly like like ginger people necessarily. It's not like a bright orange color. My eyebrows are white. My eyelashes are white as well. So am I a ginger? I guess so. My arm hair is white. If you look at it, it's actually like a golden white color. It's not orange. So I won't call myself like a full ginger necessarily. I am quite literally the epitome of strawberry blonde. This is what it kind of looks like, or golden strawberry blonde. I don't know. It's a different one. So I won't call myself a ginger exactly, but I do have a ginger beard. It's pretty browny orange, isn't it? That pretty much is clear. So there you go. There's a quick zoom in of what's going on with with the gingerness. But because obviously I'm talking about the Nephilim looking like clowns, having red hair and white skin. People have often said the whole ginger have no souls comment to me, and it's kind of, yeah, I get it, you know. Oh, do you not feel weird talking about the Nephilim when you have red hair and white skin? It's like my hair is not red. Like my hair is not. Let's look at this. The closest thing I can find right now. That's red. Is my hair red? Is it red? This is what I'm talking about when I say red. You know, blood red hair. And when I say white skin, I'm not talking about me with my shades of peach and pink. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about porcelain, unnaturally bleached, paper white. You know, with red hair. You know, that's a pretty psychedelic looking beast straight away. And that's the base of the clown, you know. And it's not white people, as some people out there want to try and make it out to be. And if you jump to that conclusion, then you quite literally are a racist. You're focusing on race. You know, like that's your obsession. Race is where your mind instantly goes to. These things aren't human. They're not even a part of the human race as a whole. They're something else. You know, they're like a hybrid, weird, psychedelic monster creature. And so that's what you need to really think of. That's pink, lol. All right. Splitting hairs now, Kumi. Come on, chill out. You know what I mean. Um, and shave the beard, and people will change their tune. Says home with Kelia. Well, that's right. As my wife is telling me, if I shave this beard off, you wouldn't be calling me Ginger. That's all it is. But look at this thing; it's getting really long and glorious. I don't want to get rid of it. I can finally twiddle the mustache again. So I think I'm gonna keep it for a bit longer. But I do go through cycles of just taking it all off and then letting it grow. I'm a reddish tone, actually. I'm part Cherokee, says Wendy. Excellent. It isn't even strawberry blonde, it's blonde, says my wife. Absolutely. Yeah. It's gold. It's like a golden color, isn't it? You know, it's different. It's a different color. I like it. I like my hair color. My son just has brown hair. He got the wife's brown hair, and he got the wife's slight. I mean, we're all very pale. Don't get me wrong. My wife is also extremely pale and burns in the sun and doesn't tan, but she does have just a slightly more olivey, not really noticeable, but just a little bit. Her freckles are brown, dark brown, for example, is what I'm trying to say. There's only certain skin that has that. I don't have brown freckles. I do get orange ones, as you can see. So but my son will never be called a ginger. He has brown hair through and through. So that's it. That's it. Plans for the future, Paul? I think I'm going to go to bed. I think that's my current plan for the future is to sleep. Maybe get up, have some breakfast. Who knows? I might. What we're doing tomorrow? Is it Monday? I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to get my blood drawn and tested to see if my iron levels have spiked since I've completed my treatment to get my ferritin levels down. I've got to go back after a month or two to check how quickly my iron rises because I have hemochromatosis. So I'm going to get that done tomorrow afternoon, probably after a morning of writing. So I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up, do family things, you know, then retreat to this office, do some editing and writing, get the book polished off. Then I'm going to go to get my blood drawn, and then I'm going to go to a hospital appointment to get my heart checked to see if my heart got damaged when I did have extremely deadly high iron, which is now, like I said, been lowered due to treatment, which I've been through for the past 3 months. So there we go. That's my plans for the future. Yeah, that's as far as it goes, to be honest. Um, It's a nice beard, Paul. I've been married 29 years and only saw my husband's beard for maybe 3 days. Is that a thing? Do wives wish to see husbands' beards more often? Is that like a thing? I don't know. Oh, my hubby's chin for 3 days. There we go. That's it. Yeah, it's hard for a man to let go of his beard once you have one. It's really difficult. What's wrong with red hair? Nothing's wrong. Nothing's intrinsically wrong with red hair. I don't know. I don't know. It's like people are ashamed of it. No, I'm not. I wouldn't be ashamed of having ginger hair. It's more of the fact that people call me ginger when I'm technically not. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm, but I get it. I get why people do. I'm clearly Celtic in nature or Norse heritage of nature. I'm Northern European in nature, quite clearly. I can't deny any of that. My wife says, fun fact, I hate Paul's chin and he shall never shave. Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, so there's that too. And it's not like I have a weak chin or anything. Like, I don't think I do. There's all, I've got all pictures of myself when I was like, didn't, when I clean shaved. And yeah, it's quite a prominent chin when especially when I smile, but naturally when you shave a beard off, suddenly it doesn't look like that at all. The initial shock takes a long time to wear off, you know. No stolen banner. Vala, all the first leaders of the USA had white hair wigs. They did. My hubby keeps a beard because he knows me like. Well, this is just degrading into absolute filth now, isn't it? I think we need to stop. This is. I did not mean for my discussion about beers to turn into impure thoughts, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening. Again, if you like what I do, but you want some extra content, make sure to check out the Patron. $5 a month gets you access to all the extra stuff. That's the minimum threshold. And like I said, I might be doing some extra stuff soon, like Patron member only group chats on Skype. That could be fun, right, guys? Let's try that for the future as well. But again, $5 a month, minimum threshold. The book is well on the way. If you're interested, you can still donate to the GoFundMe. Links down below. Any Sorry, guys, any donation amount whatsoever will get you a special thank you in the book itself once published. So there's always that going as well if you want to support the book. But yeah, there you go, guys. Patron, the book. And I will be back soon with another show. I'll chase up the hijacker, see what went on there, and see how if we can reschedule to get him on again soon. Thanks for listening, and as always, God bless.